Well, hey, it's good to see you again. My name is Jaded Ben, and welcome back to another list video where we count everything. Today's video is going to be the 5 albums from 5 different genres of music that I very much don't enjoy as much as I do metal. So I might use the word hate because there are some bands, as you can see by this list, that I do generally like, but we're going to talk about some releases that are kind of the exception to the rule, as my son there will tell you. We're going to start by what is playing in the background just right over there today, and I figured what better release for this list than Spider-God with Black Renditions. This came out in 2022 on Repose Records. My particular variant is the Gold Collection Edition. It is on standard black vinyl. It is signed on the back cover and it is numbered number 6 of 20. This features a lot of covers from like the Pointer Sisters, the Backstreet Boys, No Doubt, the Justin Bieber and Kid Laroi. A bunch of awesome black metal pop covers that ended up leading to a bunch of other really cool things from Spider-God. I'm hoping we'll get some more soon. But you'll leave a link to this in the description. Go check it out if you haven't heard it already. Okay. So we're going to kind of work through this in chronological order, just because I feel like that's a little bit easier. We're going to start with 2 releases that I don't actually own on physical format, and that's just because I haven't found them or they're too expensive. So we're going to start off with Johnny Cash with his Hot and Blue Guitar, out October 11th, 1957 on Sun Records. Johnny Cash was joined by the Tennessee 2 on this release, and of course it is his debut album. Luther Perkins on guitar and Marshall Grant on the double bass, with Johnny Cash taking the lead acoustic guitar on there. It was a very popular release for him at the time and features a lot of his bigger hits like I Walk the Line, Folsom Prison Blues, and Cry, Cry, Cry. As being from the state of Texas, we hear a lot of country music, and some of it is better than others. I will say I'm not a huge fan of the modern stuff, but we go back to like Waylon Jennings and a little bit of Johnny Cash and Willie Nelson and all those guys. I feel like country music is a little more bearable for me that way. Honestly, it's just a great album altogether. I would love to find a copy. I don't know exactly who's doing the pressings and stuff now, but if I find a copy, fingers crossed, it's pretty cool. But Johnny Cash has always been a popular artist in country music, and you can definitely see why. He's very honest, he's very open, and he's a great musician. So, all things considered, that's definitely an album that I do enjoy. Okay, for the sub-genre of music, hip-hop, we're talking about Bone Thugs and Harmony with Creepin' Up on a Come Up. Out June 21st, 1994 on Ruthless Records. This was the band's first release following the name change from Bone Enterprise to Bone Thugs and Harmony. Crazy, Lazy, Busy, Wish, and Flesh and Bone all went into the studio and recorded this little EP. Some favorite tracks of mine include Mr. Ouija, Thuggish Ruggish Bone, which also features vocals from Shatasha Williams, who didn't really get the credit that she deserved, I feel like, so I feel like saying her name is definitely impressive. Definitely worth, bringing up, because, man, it's a good vocal performance. And also For the Love of Money, which is also a great song as well. I was first introduced to this release specifically through Austin Death Fest, because a lot of this album, or EP, was playing in the background throughout the day, and I just kind of caught myself like, this is good, who is this? And like, sure enough, it's Bone Thugs and Harmony. So, there was an original vinyl press on black, which is either usually sold in very poor condition or for a lot of money in good condition. And then there was also a splatter reissue a couple of years ago for Record Store Day, which fetches like $300 plus. So unfortunately, it doesn't seem like it's going to be something that's sitting in my collection anytime soon, but I'm going to keep an eye out, and hopefully that'll change one of these days. Okay, we are going to move over to the ska punk sub-genre, and I actually do have this one on physical. This is No Doubt with Tragic Kingdom. I was just talking about Spider-God covering the song. Don't Speak is actually on the Black Renditions tape. I first heard of these guys through Guitar Hero Warriors of Rock back in 2008 or 2009, and that was with songs like Just a Girl, Spiderwebs, and Don't Speak, of course. Spiderwebs being a personal favorite of mine, but also I've got Happy Now on there as well as being a top track of mine. Something about this release just has a contagious energy to it. This is arguably the band's biggest album they've ever done because they kind of toured in place of this for about 2 years straight and continued releasing singles until 1998. I basically just kind of had this, sort of in my head for the longest time, and then as soon as I started getting back into working after I lost my job during the pandemic, I would hear this song quite a bit. Hey, there it is right there. Don't Speak. Good job, G. Anyways, I just kind of discovered this because this would appear on my work radio station as I was, doing my jobs and whatnot. So I eventually did go back and try to find this. Vinyl copies are very, very hard to find because they do fetch some good money, but honestly, I feel like Gwen Stefani is a great vocalist. The musicianship on here is absolutely incredible, and that did kind of lead me to branching out a little bit more inside of the ska punk genre. Though bands like Goldfinger do tend to pop up from time to time in my rotation, but I'd say this one is one I always go back to, so that of course is No Doubt with Tragic Kingdom out in 1996 on Interscope Records. Okay, next up we are going to move into the pop / power pop / modern pop sort of subgenre here, and that is going to be with Panic at the Disco with Death of a Bachelor, out January 15th, 2016 on Fueled by Ramen and D2C2 Records. This honestly has some incredible songs. Victorious, Don't Threaten Me with a Good Time, Death of a Bachelor, and LA Devotee being some incredible ones. I actually ended up seeing the band on this tour. I saw them on April 2nd, 2017 at the Frank Irwin Center in Austin, Texas, with Mr. Wives and Saint Motel opening for them. Personally, I do prefer a lot of the band's older works to this one, but I do actually own this one on physical release, and I feel like it did kind of spawn my love for this band, especially the earlier portions of it. The two albums that followed it, I wasn't stunned by, so take that with a pinch of salt. But everything from this album backwards is absolutely incredible. The only real gripe I have is the mix, because again, I'm used to metal and hard rock and whatnot, and punk, so I'm kind of the polished nature doesn't exactly do a lot for me, but I can kind of overlook it based on the subgenre itself. But, I didn't want to leave this off the list due to the sentimental value it has, so Panic at the Disco, Death of a Bachelor, yeah, definitely. If you like pop music, if you like a little bit of emo sort of stuff in there, check this out if you haven't heard it. Okay, and the final album on this list is going to be for the indie rock subgenre, and that is probably going to be one of my favorite non-metal albums of all time. And this was released in 2021. Polydor Records' Elbow with Flying Dream 1. This album is indie rock, basically toned down and made super ambient and super ethereal. This was recorded at, I believe, the Theatre Royal in Brighton in the UK. And the band initially intended to do just a standard studio session for this, but it was postponed due to the COVID pandemic. So they ended up having to sort of change what this album was all about. I saw somewhere that this was the band saying that they were writing letters to the other band members and to themselves in the future, and maybe even in the past, about little things that just sing to their hearts. Basically, every track on here is incredible. I'd say the only one that I'm kind of 50-50 on is It a Bird? It just kind of doesn't fit pacing-wise. But everything else on here is incredible. I actually own 2 versions of this, so if you follow me on Instagram, link in the description, you actually see both of those versions. Mine does have a signed print, but I'm not going to pull that out right now. But we'll maybe talk about this a little bit more in the future. But Elbow, Flying Dream 1, going to be an incredible indie rock album. I know a lot of people, again, prefer the early works of this group, but I say give this a shot. There's no harm in it, and I feel like it fits any mood, any time of day that I'm listening to it, and no matter what order I listen to it in, it's absolutely perfect. So, how about Flying Dream 1? That's gonna wrap it up for this quick little video here, so I hope you're having a wonderful day, hope you listen to some awesome music, and I will see you next time.